everyone. Welcome back to Third Shot Podcast. Uncle Greg and I have another great episode for you all. But before we get into it, as always, please head on over to our Instagram and Facebook and give us a follow. You can find us at Third Shot Podcast or on X at Third Shot Pod. If you'd like to get caught up on all of our previous recorded episodes, you can find us on YouTube. Just search Third Shot Podcast.
We have some gems, so I encourage somebody to go back and take a look and see what interests you because we have so many different topics that we talk about around the game of pickleball. And today we are going to have so much fun because we have the creator of the Pickleball Joy Pledge. Nikki Maldonado is starting a pledge, and I just love the message that she's sending. So let's bring Nikki on. Hey, Nikki, welcome to Third Shot Podcast.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
We can't wait to hear more about the Pickleball Joy Pledge. But before we do that, let's do our first toast to you, Nikki, and everything you're doing within the pickleball community. We love it.
All right, let's
Cheers.
do it.
Cheers to Pickleball
Cheers.
Nikki.
All right, getting started.
You ready? All right, Nikki, share with us how you got started in the world of pickleball. What was your introduction like to the sport?
Yeah, so hear a lot of folks say that pickleball saved their life, and if I thought that I was an uncommon story, and it turns out that it's fairly common, and it makes me almost feel more bonded with the community because I feel like pickleball saved my life. So what was happening was I was in an intense, really dark place of I was a workaholic, like spending all of my time on my computer, just spending way too many hours there and just so focused on that, not really, getting outside anymore. And I was just getting into a really dark place, just in the state of the world, and some things happened personally, and I kind of almost didn't recognize myself anymore, and it had been going on for a while. I would say even a couple of years. I'd started to get into this place, and finally, I was like, I've always played sports my whole life, and sports have always brought me a tremendous amount of happiness and just joy, and just a different, all the endorphins and all of that, right? And I wasn't getting any of that. I wasn't playing anything. I was just working out at home, and that was about it. And I've always been a tennis player, but tennis is really hard to play in New York City. It's you have to have a tennis partner. It's expensive. There's only so many places you can play. Only so many times a year you can play. All of that. And my partner happened to walk by a bar in Astoria where we live that had a flyer that said Pickleball League, and there was a QR code on it. So she scanned it. She said, "Would you want to play pickleball?" And I was like, "What the heck is that? I've heard of it, but I've never even played. And like, I don't know. Okay, sure, sign me up." So as a tennis player, I was actually really nervous about playing pickleball because I was like, it's a totally different ball, different paddle, different speed, all of that. So I don't even know the rules. And I was thinking, I'm going to look awful out there. And so I was so nervous. And then she sees another flyer, literally a few days later that says pickleball lessons in the park right next to where we walk our dog.
Oh,
And I
good.
was just like, how could this possibly be happening? We'd never seen anything pickleball related. And these two things happened to happen right next to each other. So I went ahead and signed up for that. The day before my league started, I went to Dick's Sporting Goods, got my first paddle, and showed up for that free lesson. Changed my life instantly. I was addicted instantly. I was the youngest person there at those free lessons, and I made such good friends. Everyone was so welcoming. I was like, what is this world? Everyone's having the best time. We're having some good competition. They taught me the game, and that was it. I haven't looked back since. I was head first all the way into it, and that was it.
So when did this happen? How many years ago was it, or was it a year ago or more?
Last June.
Last
Last
June,
June hasn't even been a
Wow.
whole
Yeah,
year.
you
and it
caught it
Yeah.
changed your
hard, fast.
life.
That's exactly right. I'm telling you, I'm like further into it than many people who've been playing for years because I was just like so in the zone in the game. Yeah.
Isn't that great about the game of pickleball? I mean, sport, game, whatever you want to call it. I mean, the community is just amazing. Like you said, you met people that have become like good friends of yours the very
Yeah.
first time you played pickleball. Like,
Yep.
where does that happen? Like you don't go to a tennis match like you're a tennis player and make bonding friends usually because it's more competitive,
That's
right?
exactly
In
right.
pickleball, it's just different. So maybe explain the difference that you've experienced in tennis versus pickleball.
Yeah, that's actually a big part of my platform is that so I played tennis recreationally my entire life. I actually never took that step to play either for school or in a proper league. I played like in some kind of just fun leagues, but even then I found growing up, and I loved tennis at a very young age, and tennis and basketball were kind of my top sports. And I even played golf, mind you. And so I found some similarities there where tennis was very exclusive, a very country club kind of game. You had to have a certain level of income. And if you weren't in that, you didn't have your coach that was coaching you, you weren't really included in that circle. And what's interesting is that even golf gets that reputation, but I felt more welcomed in golf than I ever did in tennis.
Hmm.
And I was very good at both. But for some reason, despite being a really great player, I just was never in with the in crowd, and I saw a lot of other players like that, and I felt very excluded. And to your point, I would play in matches. I would play, and even in those kind of and just more fun leagues. And there was never any connection. And what's
Yeah.
funny is even all the way to adulthood, in New York, I was taking some classes like clinics just to see if I could find a tennis partner, somebody who would want to play with me. They would go, they would play, they'd be in it for business, and then they would leave. We weren't chit chatting, we weren't hanging out, we weren't making friends, and so I could never find a tennis partner. And I was like, this is just not it. I'm not liking this. And then that's what was so. But I also just was used to it. This is why I never took tennis even too seriously growing up, because that's just how it was. So pickleball, instantly, every single place that I've played, and I've played at a lot of different clubs. I played almost every single facility in New York City. I've played in Florida. I've played in California. I've played in Lisbon, Portugal.
Whoa.
Yeah, I played all over the place, and every single facility that I've played in has been so welcoming. I've made friends at every stop along the way, and it blew my mind, and it continues to. It still blows my mind every time I'm here in LA, and I've already made so many friends in a week. And so it's a totally different mentality where yes, we're going to compete. We're going to have some really good games, but we're also just going to have fun, and we're going to connect. And we have this common bond that it's not like who's better, who's worse. I mean, there's a duper element that we can get into later, but ultimately at the end of the day, there's just this welcoming sense about the sport that, like you said, you kind of almost don't find in not just sports, almost anything in life. You really don't find this commonly in general. So it's a very different atmosphere in pickleball across the board.
Yeah, that's so true. And for our listeners too, if they haven't checked out your content, I encourage them to, because as you mentioned, you've gotten to travel around and play in many different places, and in a short amount of time because you just started in June. So, what was it that you've seen or noticed from June until now where you thought, or you're maybe an aha moment of, this pledge is necessary? So, share what the
Mm.
pledge is and kind of when you had that idea of like, this is what's needed.
Absolutely. It was a couple of things. It was kind of a culmination of things. So, as a beginner, I'm in that honeymoon phase. I've been in that honeymoon phase that I hear about. Nico the Lefty actually posted a video about this. The first year of pickleball is the best year because you're excited about it, you still love it, and then after that it dips. As soon as you start advancing, it just like crashes, and then that's it. You're not happy anymore ever. That's what I hear, and lots of people, thousands of people agreed with that. And I said, what the heck is that about? Because I was so, and I still am, right? So in it, and so many of the people that I play with are just again this community. I went to a different court. I went to in New York City in my area. There's like two rival courts, and I play at the fun one, the community driven one, and then the other rival court is like the serious one. Everyone's there for like really serious competition. So I went over there and I said, let me give it a try. There's an open play. I mean, everyone was exactly that. They were just like so competitive. Nobody's there to make friends, and they had their own community, but they weren't. That was one of the places that wasn't like instantly super welcoming. They were still fine, and you saw a couple of laughs, but I was like, oh, what is this? But I realized that they were at a much higher level. That group was at a significantly higher level than where I typically played. So that was my first like, something's going on here. Something feels different here. Fast forward, the more I started advancing, I started noticing that this was a trend that players, and they start getting to 3-5, things start teetering. You start getting to 4-0, and then you really start seeing a dip. Anything more than that, and it's just really competitive. Folks don't want to necessarily play with beginners as much, and they really care about every single win. And Duper started coming into play, and I had a personal experience with Duper because early on, I didn't even know what I was doing. I signed up for some duper leagues and some matches, and I was like, oh, whatever, sure, it's going to be a rating, whatever. My duper tanked because of a couple of different factors, the people I was playing with. It tanked. And I immediately felt bad about myself. And I was like, wait, time out. Who is this? I'm having the best time of my life playing this sport. How am I feeling bad about myself because of this little number on a
Right,
screen?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the kind of the second moment. And then the third moment, I was listening to a podcast from, it was called the Pickleballers. You probably know that from the kitchen, and Tyra Black was on there, and she was talking about her experience with tennis being so toxic and getting into a really bad mental health state,
Mm,
and how when she joined pickleball that instantly changed. And she even said that she, part of the reason, even if in her significantly competitive state, she's a pro, she's literally one of the best players in the
yeah.
world, and still finds the joy of this sport. And she talked about, and they even asked, they were like, how do we keep this joy from, we see that people are losing it, so how do we keep this? So all of this together in my brain, I'm putting all the pieces together, and I'm like, okay, people love the sport when they start. It's exciting, it's incredible, there's a honeymoon phase. It dips at some point, your duper rating, the people that you're playing with, all of this stuff can contribute to that. But then you can even be a pro, you can be Tyra Black and still find this joy. So where can we find that happy middle ground? There has to be something. And the more that I started putting this concept out there, every single person that I talked to, I have literally not met a single person that I've talked to that this didn't resonate with, that they didn't say, you're exactly right. I see this all the time. I've experienced it myself. All of a sudden, people start opening up to me, and they start saying, I'm currently experiencing this, and I didn't know what to do about it. And this, you bringing this up actually made me recognize this in myself. And they start talking about some techniques that they can do to shift their mentality. So all of those puzzle pieces together helped me see that there needs to be a shift, because this sport is growing so fast. It could start heading in that tennis direction. And this is a moment I realized that now is the time to strike, to work all together as a community to not go down that toxic path. Let's not become tennis. Let's keep the joy, the wonderful specials, the magic of pickleball that we've been talking about. So that's how
mhm.
this kind of came up.
That's so cool. I'm so happy, and I love the fact that you are doing this pledge. You mentioned a little bit about talking to other people, and it resonates with them, and they said they're sharing kind of different techniques that they're working with on themselves about. Can you share a little bit about what you've learned that other people are experiencing and what they're doing about it?
Yeah. So a couple of things that they've shared, I've seen and that they've shared. Number one, so there's kind of there's there I look at this in two ways, of the I call it the duper effect, the duper monster, and it creeps in two ways, externally and internally. The external is like how you treat others. And so when you start to advance, and then all of a sudden you don't want to play with some folks that are maybe not as good because it changes the pace of the game. And look, we all want good competitive games, right? We want to get in there. We want it to be a fast paced game. We want to, have it get into a rhythm. I totally understand that. But every now and then you will find yourself in a position. It doesn't have to be every day, it doesn't have to be all the time, but probably will find yourself in a position with a beginner or somebody earlier on in their journey. And how you treat them really matters. And so the external duper thing is when you ask, almost like an ID, when you ask someone before you even play with them, like, what's your duper? And then you judge them because of that. So people have called themselves out about it, like, oh no, I've done this, I've treated people differently, like, oh. So that's the first thing. And so what they do is they try to open their minds to, okay, let me think about this game. Am I going to play my entire open play with every single level of player? Probably not. But am I going to be okay with playing with different varieties of player here and there? Yes, absolutely. So kind of shifting that mentality. The other is the internal duper effect, which is how you, again, this was something that affected me, and it affects probably the majority of folks that I talk to, which is how are they looking at themselves because of their level? I played with a girl the other day, actually, who would not stop apologizing. She was my partner. And after every shot that she missed, she would say, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I paused, and we stopped and we reset. And I said, please, I just want you, for not even for me, but for you, do not apologize again. I want you to work on this through the rest of the match. No more sorries. Because I've missed a bunch of shots here, and we're also winning, by the way. And so I was like, no more apologies. And she was like, I'm sorry. I was like, don't even apologize for that. Just I said, let's get really hyped. Let's get really excited about the shots that you make. And so that's what we did. And by the end of the game, she was like, that was so much fun. And she said, I'm gonna really gonna work on this. I'm gonna try to shift that mentality. So whether it's again the score that you're, or rather your rating, your duper rating, and how you're looking at that and shifting it to a learning, or even on the court in the moment, your mentality should be positive. Oh, it's okay, I missed it. Let's reset. I find the biggest key for me is paddle taps in
Uh-huh.
between points, good or bad, right? Celebrate those good points. And if it was not a great point, right? If you lost that, just give a paddle tap to your partner, reset. We got this. Let's go. Let's get right back in it. One more stop, whatever that is, really uplifts your partner. So I find that those are some of the techniques that have been helping a lot of people.
I love that. I love that there's two perspectives too, with the external and the internal too. Uh,
Yeah.
share with us, how easy is it to take this pledge? Because I think after people hear more and more about this, I think it's just going to continue to gain momentum.
Absolutely. It's so easy. It takes like 30 seconds. You go to Pickleball Nikki, so pickleballnikki.com, and the pledge is right there. You just click through the form, you put your name, a little bit of information, and then you really are just agreeing to a couple of things. You're agreeing to leaving your ego at the door, right? Checking your ego at the door. That's it. Let's leave it off the courts. You're committing to respecting the game, respecting each other. You're committing to uplifting each other and uplifting yourself, right? Really just having, shifting that mindset. And that's it. That's it. It takes not even 30 seconds to complete this pledge. Beyond that, part of the pledge is just the first step. So this is just the very tip of the iceberg that I'm working on. There's going to be some steps after that, because this is you acknowledging and having that self-awareness that you could shift again your mindset. Now, what we want players to do is, once they take the pledge, is to really continue and sustain that commitment. So now, once you get on the court, share your stories. Tell us, how are you actually living pickleball joy? What are some of the things that you've done to keep yourself excited or to help with others? And so we're having a lot of people share those stories. So that's kind of phase two, is really getting the word out of how pickleball joy is alive. It doesn't stop at the pledge. It doesn't stop at the website. It continues and lives onto the courts. And then future state, not to share too much, but giving you guys a little future little spoiler alert. We're working on a couple of things, like some clinics and some activities, some really really fun events around Pickleball Joy, where it's intense competitions, but it also always comes back to fun. It always comes back to, what are we doing? What are the little things that we're doing to shift, to the energy in the room, to really uplift each other. And so right now it's phase one, take the pledge. Phase two, share your stories, get out there and like really make it happen. And then phase three is, how do we continue to grow this? How do we work together to continue that mindset?
Well, we have to have, you already broke the news. You're going to do clinics.
Yes,
You have to come out to our Dinkers and do a clinic.
Yes. I
I'm
would love
there.
that.
Do we got
Time
do
and
we got a
place.
high
Let me know.
five? Are we in?
Boom.
Paddle
Let's
tap.
do it. Absolutely. Paddle tap. There we go.
You
Let's
just
do it.
paddle tap. We're in on that. Here's
Yes.
my second idea. It's not an
Mm,
idea, but this is what I think.
bring it
I
on.
want to, when you come out and you experience the culture at our Dinkers, I want you to make us, if you find that, we really have the culture that, you're behind, you support, that we are Pickleball Joy certified.
Ooh, yes, I am all about that. Yes, and I can tell you right now, you're already certified just from your energy.
Oh,
If
heck
you're leading
yeah.
that facility, I can tell you right now, that's a big part of this too. Is the leaders of these clubs. I really do see a difference, and overall, essentially every club that I played at is fantastic. But I do see a difference in the energy in the like on the courts. The folks who are leading it really can set the tone when you're out there getting to know the community, when you're playing, right? And of course you're running a business, so you can't be out there all of the time. But when you get to know those faces, it really makes a difference. It makes the players more excited to go there. It makes the players more excited to be in that place. And so I can tell you right now, yeah, I'm going to give you the certification. Yeah, I'm going to go there because we're going to have to do this. But I can tell you right now, you're certified already.
Ah,
I
love
love
it.
that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So exciting. We need to have like a little crest or something that or like
Right?
a certification that we can post on the wall. And
Yes,
it's
let's do
signed
it.
by
Yes.
Pickleball Nikki. Love
Yes.
it.
Oh yeah, I love this is why I love these conversations because we think of all of these ideas and now
Right?
I think you might have to be the first one. So let's do this.
All
Yeah.
right. We got to get you out there. So, yeah, once we get open, we are going to have you there. And yeah, we'll have to get that stamp of approval from Pickleball Nikki.
I'll be there in June.
Oh, look,
I'll
there
be
you go.
We
There
should
Yeah,
we
be
go.
already
It's
open.
I already
on.
have a trip planned. So let's do
Okay.
it.
That's amazing. So, you mentioned that all the clubs are, have kind of a little different culture, like
Yes.
everyone you visit, and you've gone to so many different parts of the country as well as internationally.
Mhm.
What are the differences that you've noticed as you've traveled?
Yeah, so a couple of things. Number one, it's probably doesn't seem like much at first glance, but having a team, like a staff on site, can really make or break the experience initially. And so I found that there are some clubs that they do the login where you can play, and it's really nice because you're playing 24 hours a day practically because you don't need anyone to open the door for you. But when you have someone there who's just smiling and welcoming you and like really cares, it just makes such a difference. Actually, at Dill Dinkers, I'm going to call out Dill Dinkers in Satellite Beach in Florida.
Yes.
I walked in and I was bringing my family there. So I was visiting Florida and I was taking my niece and nephews and my brother and his wife to play. And I was introducing them to pickleball. So it was very sensitive for me because I wanted them so badly to have a good experience.
Mhm.
That team was so welcoming and so lovely. They had our names when we walked in. They had our names on the board saying that this was our court and welcome. And the kids were all like, "Look, that's my name." They were so excited, and they walked us through everything. And they came over and they gave us high fives mid game, like they were actually paying attention. They loved how much we were laughing and smiling, and just a tiny little detail like that, like the team on staff, can go such a long way. And so I'm not saying that every facility has to have that, but it makes a big difference. I think the other thing is just kind of keeping an eye on on the players, all of that. There's a club in New York called Velto, and they just opened about a month ago. I think a little over a month ago, and from the beginning, from the ground up, the owner is always on site. All the work that he's doing is right there on the side of the courts. He's got his computer. He's really chatty, but he's always there, and he gets to know almost everybody who walks through the doors. And again, it's also a little unrealistic for probably sustainably. I think his energy is, really high because it's just opening. But part of the reason why he's doing that is not just to meet folks, but to kind of check the energy in the building. And what he wants is for this to be truly a community. He wants a high level of competition, and he wants a good energy, really fun energy. He wants to see people connecting and meeting each other and sharing, exchanging names and all of that, not just playing and moving on. And so he's watching and he's checking and he's making sure that this is a good balance. And I do think that you can see you can feel the effects of that as a player. You can feel when you walk in that something is lighter. It's
Uh,
more fun, and it almost kind of makes you want to. It makes you want to play better. It makes you want to like. I don't know. You just kind of want. You kind of are more invested when you walk into those courts. And so, yeah, I think that the staff. I think that the involvement of the leadership, and then I do think that just continuing to remind those players of like it. That's what this is all about, like really reinforcing whether it's events that you're doing. I think events are also really fantastic to bring the community together. It's not just open play, it's not just leagues, it's not just all of that kind of stuff. The competition, really bringing in those different types of events can be even like cultural moments can really shift it positively, make things more positive.
I love that. It's such good feedback. And I do have to shift slightly to the side and ask about your experience playing in Portugal because that sounds incredible.
Yeah. So what was really interesting about that is that, of course, pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the United States, and it is taking off worldwide, especially in Asia. But Europe hasn't fully caught the bug yet. They're almost there. They're more on the padel track,
mhm.
and so when I was going to Portugal, I told my partner, yes, this is vacation, but I can't not play pickleball. I have to find
That
there
is
has to
vacation.
be. Yeah, and so I traveled with my paddles. I brought them along with me, and I found actually I looked it up before we went, and there was a really cool facility. It's like a warehouse. It looks like an underground club or something. But it's like this like really cool warehouse. It's actually a padel facility. But because pickleball is expanding so quickly, they put a pickleball court in there. One court. There's like
Wow.
8 or 10 padel courts, and there's one pickleball court in there. And I reached out to them in advance, and I said, "Is there an open play? What's the system like?" And they said, "No, you just book the court, but we have a WhatsApp community, and that's how you connect with people and kind of you know, communicate and coordinate from there." So I joined the WhatsApp community, and a lot of it was in Portuguese, and I
Oh,
had to translate a little bit, but most of them speak English, and so I was in there and I kind of worked it out. And I told the group, I said, "Look, I'm willing to book the court. I'll pay for it. Just show up and play." And they did, and we had the best time. And this place was so beautiful. It was really fun. It was called Nave or Nave Nave Padel, and yeah, instantly they were just very welcoming. They were very encouraging. They were really excited to play with someone from somewhere else. And I found out that most of them were from somewhere else as well. They were all from Portugal, but from different parts, and they had joined forces in Lisbon, and we're really excited to see the growth of this game. And they wanted to know, what is it like in the states? What is the future of
oh,
pickleball kind of look like? And that's how I did it. So I literally just had to WhatsApp it. It wasn't even an app or anything. It was truly like a conversation app, and we made it work. It was fantastic.
that's the best, right? You could
Yeah,
travel with your paddle, make new friends internationally. I'm sure you're going to be keeping in contact with them, and you're going to learn
yeah,
Portuguese now, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on my way. Maybe like a
a little
0.01
bit.
percent. Yeah.
So we have implemented a new segment to our show, Ask Us Anything.
Ooh.
So, is there any question that Bridgie always smiles and she goes, "Oh no, what are they gonna
I
ask
know,
us
I
this
always,
time?"
like,
Right?
brace
It's like
myself for when
because
I know.
we never know. So, ask us anything.
Yeah, I would ask you both, opening a facility it's a pretty big deal. But I'd be curious, what is the one thing that you're both most excited for opening your facility? And I know that there's going to be a ton of stressors. There's going to be all of that stuff that comes with opening a business, but there's got to be that thing, that light that just excites you. So what is it for each of you?
I'll start off. I think for me, it's events and
Mm.
creating that space for people that's just like it gives them that one thing on their calendar that gets them through the week. Like you see it at the end on a Friday, on a Saturday, and it just gets them through their work week. They're excited to come in. And as we talked about, it kind of builds that culture. They get to meet other people. Maybe they make a lifelong friend. Maybe they just meet their new pickleball partner. But I think that is what is the most exciting for me.
Mm. Love, love, love that.
Yeah.
You're certified.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm taking the pledge and I'm going to record myself. I'm going to screen record me taking the pledge and we're going to post it on our Instagram.
Yes, do
Yeah.
that. I love that.
That's great idea. Your story is kind of why what lights me up. Is I want to have a whole bunch of people that have never played pickleball before, only played once or twice. Bridgie and I just did a health fair over at UNLV, and there was a number of people that stopped by our booth, our table, and said, "Yeah, I played once or twice, but I don't really know where to go. I don't know, really how to play stuff like that." I want to bring those people in, and I know, and that you play it a couple of times, and people kind of show you what to do. That you fall in love with it
Oh
and
yeah.
it changes your life in a better way. You meet new people. It exposes you to a community that you don't have right now. That's a very welcoming, inviting, inclusive community. And I'm really looking forward to just introducing pickleball to just a bunch of people that have never tried it or tried it once or twice in their lives.
Extra certified. What is that? Like certified plus. That's what you get. I just again, this is the mentality, because I think there are some clubs out there that want to attract the best of the best, and they want it to be the ultimate. And I've seen some of those as well. I've experienced those as well. But what you're talking about really does create exactly what makes pickleball so special. You are fostering the magic of this sport. So that is beautiful. I love it.
Well, let's take our second shot to
Yeah,
that.
Let's do
Yeah, let's do it.
it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Let's do it.
I love the fact that you're coming out in June. We are going to
Yes.
have so much fun.
Oh,
Right?
I can't wait. I can't wait.
You let us
So,
Hopefully
know
it's
and
not
we'll
snowing.
help make arrangements for you.
Yeah, I'll
yes,
let you know the dates. I will be there. Just get ready because I'm
we'll
going to
get
be
the
there. And
clinic
let's,
going. Yeah,
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
I'm
we're
ready
going
to
to
work.
be
I'm sending you the email right
okay.
now.
Okay. So remind everybody, how do they take the pledge?
Yeah. So super easy. Pickleball Nikki, NIKKI.com. Just, and you can always go to Pickleball Nikki on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, any of those, and you can link straight to my site, and that takes you directly to the pledge. You just sign up, takes not even 30 seconds, and boom, you are committed to Pickleball Joy just like that.
Well, let's do it, everyone.
Yeah.
Yep, you heard her.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much for joining us today.
Oh, you guys are the best. I cannot wait for June. Now I'm even more excited for June. I love Las Vegas, but I'm just so excited to meet you both in person. So thank you for having me.
Aw,
The
thank you so
hugs are
much for
waiting for you.
joining us.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's bring it in.
That's right. Let's go. That was so much fun talking to Nikki. I mean, she totally embodies what pickleball is all about,
She really does, and I just love her spirit. It is pickleball, it seems like.
right? And everybody has their own story and why they love pickleball. And we kind of got a glimpse of that last night, didn't we?
We did, yeah. So I know we've talked about our nephew Finn on here a few times, but he made a comment last night that really stood out to me when we were talking about sports because he's at that age now. What is he, 7, 8 years old? Where
Eight.
he's
Yeah.
starting to get more and more involved in sports. We're taking him to games and he's getting exposed to so many different sides of athletics. And last night he said, that's why pickleball is top tier. And I looked at him and I was like, what did you say? He said, pickleball, it's a top tier sport. And I was like, why? And he said, because everybody has fun when they play pickleball. And getting him out on the courts is so much easier than convincing him to play something that's like football or something aggressive or basketball. He's not into all of that, but he loves pickleball because he always has a good time when he's out there, and I think that that goes to show the joy of the game and that it's reaching so many different age groups and just different people too.
Yeah, it's so cool to kind of see life through Finn's eyes and through Finn's lens because he's such a cool person. And, full disclosure, we just came from the Henderson Silver Knights hockey game,
Which was so
where
fun.
which was a blast, but it's pretty intense. Like when
Right.
you're right up close and you see these guys hitting each other really hard, first of all, there's an appreciation of how athletic they are and the skill level. But for somebody that doesn't want to get bashed, pickleball is the great alternative.
Top tier, as he says.
It's top tier alternative. So I love that he wants to, and he can't wait to play more pickleball now. So you get to see him kind of grow in the sport. It's going to be so much fun, and he just brings a smile to everybody that he gets in touch with. So I
He
know,
truly does, yeah.
yeah, he's such a cool little guy. I love Finn. So I can't wait to see him on the court and meeting new friends playing pickleball. And that's kind of what we were talking about, with Nikki is like,
Exactly.
for it doesn't matter what age you are, you're gonna meet new friends. You
Mhm.
could be 7, 8, 80. You're gonna meet new friends. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
so social, and the entry level that is so low, I think, to play pickleball, and then when you go to a facility like Dill Dinkers where you can demo paddles there, you don't even have to bring your own, we'll make sure that people have what they need in order to participate, but I think that that's, part of what makes it so special.
definitely. Well, let's take our third shot to Finn.
Oh yeah, and to all
And
the young athletes out there, pickleball athletes.
that's right. Cheers to
Cheers.
all of you. Cheers, Finn. I can't wait to have Nikki come back and join us in. in Vegas and do her clinic and give us our stamp of approval, the Pickleball Joy certification. It's going to be a blast. And we will definitely keep everybody in touch with when she's coming out. And maybe we'll do a live broadcast when she's there. That'll be fun too.
Yeah, I would love that. And I think she might be interested.
She might be. Well, thank you everybody for joining us at Third Shot, where Bridgie and I will continue to share our pickleball journey. A real special thanks to Nikki. And to learn more about the Pickleball Joy Pledge, go on to our website, which is www.pickleballnikki.com, spelled Nikki.com. Instagram, same thing, Pickleball Nikki. And we promise to have more amazing guests just like Nikki on Third Shot future episodes. So let's continue to share our enjoyment for the game and grow this pickleball community together, this beautiful community that we have. See you next time on Third Shot Podcast.